Hey, it's Kevin DeWitt here, and welcome to another tips, tricks, techniques session video. In this video, we are going to have a look at going from mono to stereo build-up in a song. So firstly, if you are new to my channel, new to my videos, and you like what you see, please click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. So creating build-up in a song is going from mono to stereo, right? When you're mixing songs, creating songs, whatever else, one of the things you want to look at is obviously creating some interest, some excitement, something unique about your song, or just something for the listener to keep them entertained other than just the raw music itself. And one of the techniques that I have used before, and many people have used before, this is obviously not my invention, is to do a build-up type approach, going from mono to stereo. So starting off nice and thin and then building out to wide. So I'm going to show you that technique right now, and we'll see how you go. Okay, so we've got a song here, and I just muted the vocals, so we're just going to concentrate on the instruments. And just to give you an idea, so this song here, I haven't used this technique on in this mix because I did other things that was more suitable, but we're going to try this out anyway. So to give you an idea, the song basically starts like this, and it just goes through for the entire way, pretty much in the same sort of space. So obviously some vocals come in there normally, but you can hear when you take the vocals out that it's very static. Nothing majorly changes there. So what we want to do is we want to look at making this mono at the start. So it's very stereo. Now, obviously you can do this, or you can keep this in mind as you're actually writing your song and build things up to be mono to start with. So you could create your instrumentation so that it's very mono. In this case here, we've got drums that are really stereo. We've got guitars that are stereo. Obviously the bass is mono. So we haven't planned out for this to be mono, and we've planned it out to be a stereo track. So what we're going to do in this case is we can either chop things up and create new tracks, or we can do some automation. So whichever preference you prefer to do, I guess I'll quickly show you both methods here. So if we just look at the one drum track first, now we'll do it on the entire part in a minute, but just to show you the two different techniques that you might want to do. So let's say we want to do, let's just throw the first 4 bars. No, let's say the first 8 bars, okay? And we're going to make that mono. So we might want to automate that. So in my case here, I'm going to say put it into write mode. And the reason I'm just going to do this is because I just want it to get to open the lane up. This is a little common technique in Cubase, that if I put it in write mode and I play the track, anything I touch, it'll automatically open the lane, other than having to go down and then find what automation I want, that sort of thing. I can do it this way and it can manually open it. So it's a very quick way to get the automation track open that you want. So we need to automate the left and right panning controls because we want to get them to stereo. So I'm going to quickly play this and get that to do that. So we've got the lane open now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw it in. So with this right channel here, we want to actually get this to be into the center. So I'm going to put a dot here at bar 8. And I might just put it just slightly after. And we're going to move that up to center, which I went totally past. Okay, it doesn't want to put it in center for me. I'm going to delete this marker and this marker, so it'll automatically throw that up there. Now again, another feature in Cubase, I can click on this and I can go up here and I can manually type in the value I want, which is C. Okay, then we're going to do exactly the same thing on the left channel, but in this case, we're going to also go to C, but it's going to look the opposite direction. And again, I'm just going to do it manually, type it because it's easier to do. Delete these. Okay, so if we turn write mode off now, we are in read mode only. Let's get rid of that volume one. We don't need that there. So if we now play the track, we should hear this be mono and then go to stereo. Okay, so there you go. So that is how to do it using some automation. So we're automating the actual movement of the panning control. Because I'm just going to move this one down here, just so visually it looks a lot more clear what it's doing. So we're down the center, and then we pan out wide stereo. All right, so we have a second drum kit here, which sounds almost the same, not exactly the same. And what we're going to do is I'm actually going to duplicate this track. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to chop both of these tracks at this point here. This first one, I'm going to, you can either mute or delete. I'm just going to delete for clarity there. I might put a little bit of a fade there so we don't get any pops. And this one here is set to full stereo. Now this one here, we're going to do the opposite. I'm going to delete that. Going to put a little fade there. Now we may actually sort of get these to overlap. So that way they're sort of doing a crossfade at the same point. And this one here, I'm going to change the pan settings to C and C. So this track is now mono. So if I solo these two tracks together, we should get the same result. Okay, so you can use either of these approaches and it depends on what you prefer. This one here is a lot simpler to do. It's a lot easier to keep track of and manage because you can see individual tracks. You don't have to worry about the automation as such, but obviously it can take a lot more resources because if you do this on a lot of tracks and you have a lot of plugins on each one, you have to duplicate every single thing. So you have to duplicate all the plugins that are on the track. Everything needs to be duplicated. You're going to end up with a lot of tracks and a lot more resources being used. Whereas the automation, obviously, it's just the same single track. We're just changing things. So there's pros and cons to either direction. So whichever one you want to do there. So that's the approach to get the drums to sound the way we want. So if we bring both drums in, and we'll just do a shorter bit there. Now, the trick with this one is If you listen to that, it still sounds very stereo, and the reason is because of our reverbs here. We've got some processing and things like that. So if we switch over to this channel here, we look at our sends. Okay, so we look over here, you can see that we have our drums being sent to two different reverbs here, a room and a plate. And these are both stereo. So what that is doing is that we are basically getting our reverb is being stereo. So that is killing our mono-ness of this song, I guess the point is. So depending on how you build your mix will depend on the complexity of this. So in this regard here, we basically need to go and do the same automation on these two reverbs as well. So once I get the tracks there written, basically I come in here and I just do the same thing that we did before. Just going to move that dot over there, move that one there, that one. Going to go center, that one, center, and just move that over there. I'm just moving them because it already created the little dots for me. So I may as well just move them. Now, another alternative to this option would be to have turned the reverb off, automated the reverb off in this mono section as well, so that we could get a lot more factors. We could even make the drums dry. So let's see what impact that's had this time. Okay, that's sounding a lot more mono now. So we can sort of hide those now if we wish. And we can hide our drums there. So now we have all our other instrumentation. Now the bass should be okay. It's pretty mono. Does have a slight room reverb on it. We could automate that if we wanted to. Let's just go the whole way. We may as well. So I'm just going to put the cursor closer to there. And so if we look at our track here, this one, we should only see that we have just a little bit of room. That is it. Okay, so the bass is now done. As I said, the room effect is very low, so you're not really going to notice that, but just if you want to be a perfectionist about this and set it up 100% right, then we need to cater for that. So now we have all of these guitar tracks. Okay, and depending on what they're doing, they may also feed into some reverb there. We have room and we have a spring. So let me quickly go and do that. Now you'll notice here that some of these are a little bit different. So we need to do some playing here because this is already panned left. That's panned right, panned in between, and things like that. So we just need to adjust our technique for this a little bit. Okay, so we've got all our automation drawn in. There's quite a lot here. Obviously, you're going to want to make sure this is the right thing to do for all of the amount of automation that I've had to draw in here, which you can see. Again, I could have used the first option, as I said, where I chopped everything up. But more than likely, you would probably do this technique if you had quite a few less instruments. So you might even strip some of these instruments out as well, so it's a lot thinner and not so much going on. But there's no reason why you can't do this sort of amount of automation if it warrants it and you feel that doing this technique is going to be right. So what we end up with now is this. Okay, so again, not necessarily the appropriate song for it, and you need to find the right place, okay? And you need to find the right place where things come back in. So here it is now with just going straight from mono all the way out to stereo. So suddenly the song has a lot more variance to it, a bit of dynamics, a bit of change, a bit of interest to you. So suddenly things are moving in a different direction. Now, you can obviously take that further and start to move things in a different path. So you might say, okay, that's fine, but I want to actually say move the acoustic guitar ones earlier. So I'm going to leave the drums and everything else mono, but I'm going to move these ones here, say at bar 6. So I'm basically going to pan out my acoustic guitars. The windows are not big enough. I can't get a hand. Hang on. There we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're starting to bring instruments out at different points. Okay, so you might say that's not enough. I want to do a bit more. So let's go and move this to bar 4. We're going to bring our acoustic guitars out at bar 4. And what else do we have? And let's say our rhythm guitars here, we're going to pop them out at bar 6. And then we've still got our drums that are popping out at bar 8 and everything else. So we end up with this. So we can use tactics like that as well. It doesn't have to be all together. It doesn't have to be hard and fast. You can introduce little instruments here and there, and they don't even have to be all playing at once. We could mute instruments and bring them in one at a time, in with left ear, right ear, all that sort of stuff. So it's all about creating interest, creating some uniqueness to your song, and some textures. And going from mono to stereo is a very valid technique of creating some impact into your song. So there you go. There is how to build up a song going from mono to stereo. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. You're going to use it in your next song. If you have any questions about it, or if I wasn't very clear on certain parts, please do feel free to put them in the comments, and I will answer as best I can. I love to help wherever I can so that you get the most out of these videos as I can possibly provide you. If you have any suggestions for any other tips, tricks, or techniques that you would like covered, or you would like me to show you or research for you, please feel free to put them in the comments. I'm always looking for new ideas for videos to add to my list, and any good ones that come out, obviously I will add to my list, and I will try to do a video for them in the future as soon as I can. Again, if you like what you see here, please click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. Hopefully this video has been helpful. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.